My beloved child, pause right where you are, for I need you to hear this as clearly as the first breath of morning. I am here, not from a distance, not as an echo floating somewhere far away, but as a presence surrounding the atmosphere around you, soft as the mist resting on the shoulders of one who rises early. I have seen you walking while trying to steady your breath, your heart stretched thin like a cord about to snap under invisible alarms in the spiritual realm. I know how you have been trying to stay strong, trying to look stable, trying to pretend everything is still under control, while deep inside, layers of emotion collide like silent undercurrents no one else can hear. You have walked through too many zones of distortion spaces where lies clung to your mind like thorns, refusing to fall off no matter how hard you tried. You have carried false voices, judgments that never came from me, shadows fabricated by the enemy to make you believe you were smaller than the reality I placed within you. And because of that, I must speak with the urgency of a father who does not want his child to take one more step into dangerous ground. My child, there are days you wake up with a heart heavy as stone, not because something happened, but because your spirit sensed something approaching. You were not wrong. It is no coincidence that you feel attacked in your thoughts, torn by emotions you cannot name, or suddenly exhausted as if someone drained your strength during the night. These are spiritual alarms, and I have seen every whirlwind trying to pull you in. The enemy does not need to break down your door to enter your life. It only needs to make you believe one lie. One wrong thought can tilt you away from the direction I lead. And so I must pull you out with my words, with the light I breathe over your mind, with the gentle but unyielding firmness of a father who knows exactly what you are fighting. Let me make this very clear: you are not as weak as you think. You are simply surrounded by noise that does not belong to you. There are voices planted in your head from old seasons, voices that told you you were not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough to be loved, to be chosen, to be protected. And because you are tired, you accidentally believed them. I do not blame you. I only grieve that these lies made you lower your head, even though I placed a crown upon it. My voice became too soft while fear became too loud. But remember, this fear only grows when your heart has empty space. When I stand in the center, every other voice becomes nothing more than wind outside the door. You hear it, but it cannot touch you. I know this season feels like walking through a dark street where all the lamps suddenly shut off. You have to feel your way forward, touching the walls, pausing at every unfamiliar sound. But what you do not see is that I am walking right beside you, like a father placing his hand on the shoulder of his small child, guiding them through an unfamiliar path. The tremors in your spirit are not signs you are collapsing. They are signs you are closer than ever to a great door. And the enemy knows this, which is why it whispers lies into your ears to make you forget who you belong to. It cannot touch your destiny, so it tries to make you abandon it before you arrive at what I promised. Listen to me with all your heart. Spiritual alarms do not come to knock you down. They come to alert you that I am pulling you closer to the safe zone of my truth. You were never born to stand alone in the roar of darkness. You were born to stand within my arms, where no lie can survive. I draw you into safety, not with chains, but with the warmth of my presence. Like a blanket wrapped around the shoulders of someone chilled to the bone. I use truth as your wall, grace as your roof, revelation as your lock, and love as the force field that blocks anything trying to pull you from the position I have placed you in. There were nights when you thought you only slept a few hours, but in truth your soul fought a long battle in the unseen realm without your awareness. You only felt tired in the morning, but I saw the dark intentions I intercepted in the night. You do not know how many times I stationed angels around your bed to shield you from invisible attacks. You only woke with a slightly quickened heartbeat. But I knew you had been protected. The battle did not weaken you, It testified that you are important enough in my plan that darkness trembles at your presence. My child, you must understand this deeply. My truth does not only rescue you from lies, it makes you stronger, so you will never return to that place again. Truth is not merely knowledge, it is armor. When you wear it, every arrow of the enemy loses its power. When you walk in truth, you walk with your back straight and your eyes bright, not because you trust in yourself, but because you trust in me, the one who never lies. My truth is not decoration, it is weaponry. It is belief strengthened into courage, breath that keeps you from being swept into fear. It is a small light that still shatters a dark room, because darkness has never overpowered light. No matter how faint that light may appear to human eyes, I do not blame you for trembling. I only want you to know that no trembling ever drives me away from you. The weaker you feel, the closer I stand. The more distracted you become, the tighter I hold your hand. The lower your head drops from exhaustion, the gentler I lift your chin. I do not come to accuse, I come to pull you out. I do not come to demand strength, I stand in the place where you feel unsteady. I am your father, and in this zone of alarm, I do not lead you out with shouting. I lead you out with the breath of one who loves you without condition. I call you by your true name, the name only you and I know in the deepest chambers of your soul. And when I speak that name, every lie becomes a weak noise. When I speak that name, you remember who you belong to. When I speak that name, darkness withdraws. When I speak that name, you step into safety not with your feet, but with your knowing Father is here. Father is real. Father is stronger than everything you fear. In the spiritual realm right now, there are movements you cannot see with your eyes. Yet your soul feels each vibration like distant drums, echoing. The uneasiness you've felt is not because you are overly sensitive, but because the spiritual battle around you is widening. Areas that once felt peaceful now feel stirred, like water troubled by an unexpected wind. I do not hide this. I reveal it so you awaken. Not panic so you stay alert. Not afraid. In every battle, the most dangerous element is not the darkness itself, but failing to recognize an attack when it comes. That is why I open your eyes. Why I let you see the invisible arrows being released, so you know how to stand firm, how to raise your shield, how to keep your soul from falling for lies wrapped in what looks reasonable. See the battle as a forest in the night, thick darkness, unpredictable sounds, subtle movements that make the untrained flee. But you are not a stranger in the forest, you belong to the light. And light never loses direction. The enemy strikes where he assumes you are weak, your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, the words once spoken that left wounds. He does not attack with swords or spears, but with sudden images in your mind. Strange, intrusive thoughts and unexplained weariness. He wants you to believe that you are the problem, but you must distinguish my voice from the voice that seeks to break your soul. My voice always leads you out, the other always pushes you down. I want you to remember Elijah in 1 Kings 19. After a victory so great that he called fire down from heaven, he fled in fear because of one threat. This is the ancient tactic of darkness. It doesn't need to strike. When you are weak, it strikes right after your victory. When you assume you are strongest, Elijah was powerful enough to call down fire. Yet in an instant, he felt ready to die over a single threat. You have been the same, one wrong word, one rejection, one closed door. And suddenly you believe you are not enough. But I came to Elijah not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a gentle whisper, and that is how I come to you, soft but breaking fear, tender but unshakably firm, quiet but full of authority. What you feel as alarms is not meant to make you quit, but to help you understand that you stand in the center of a battle far greater than yourself. I also want you to remember Gehazi in 2 Kings 6 when the Aramean army surrounded Dothan. He panicked because he saw only the enemy. But Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes that he may see." And when his eyes opened, he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire. That is what is happening to you now. You see only what opposes you: bad news, rejection, misunderstanding, words that cut your heart. But I am here to open your eyes. The forces of light surrounding you are greater than anything rising against you. You are not fighting alone. You are simply seeing from ground level. When I lift your vision, you will see the truth. You are protected, encircled by holy weaponry, covered by forces the enemy cannot touch. This zone of alarm you're in is not a sign of the end. It is evidence that you are stepping into a sacred phase the darkness fears most. It attacks not because you are weak, but because you are nearing the crossing point, the place where the truth I planted in you begins to bloom. The more the enemy stirs your mind, the clearer it becomes that you are exactly where you should be. He has only one tactic: to make you believe something untrue, so you step out of the path I set. He knows that if you remain in truth, he loses. So he attacks truth within you, attacking your perception of yourself, attacking your worth through sudden memories or images meant to tighten your chest. And here is the prophecy I want you to hear. These waves of alarm are not sent to exhaust you. They are marking the opening of a new territory within your soul. The pressure you feel is like the trembling of the ground before a seed breaks through the soil. It is not a sign of collapse, it is a sign of birth. It is not a warning of disaster, it is the announcement of emergence. And you must stand firm even while your heart trembles. Because I am opening your spiritual eyes so that you no longer walk by emotion, but by the truth I planted within you before time began. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a vast field where sudden, forceful winds rise as if to topple anyone without roots. But you are not a fragile blade of grass. You are like the tall olive tree, your roots anchored deep in true ground, your trunk steady in the storm. And though the wind may blow, you bend, but you do not break. What keeps you standing is not talent, nor emotional stability, but the truth I have fastened around your soul like a sacred belt. When that truth tightens, every lie swirling around you finds no place to cling. I speak this so you may know spiritual awakening is not living in fear, it is living with open eyes. It is not seeing enemies everywhere, it is discerning what is my voice and what is the voice trying to pull you downward. When you awaken, you stop reacting from emotion. You will know when to stand still, when to step forward, when to resist, and when to hand the battle to me. Awakening keeps you from being fooled by the thin smoke the darkness creates to confuse you. Awakening lets you see through the illusion and into the real thing I am doing. This spiritual battle, hear me clearly, did not come to destroy you. It came to strip away what no longer belongs to you: old fears, false beliefs, unhealed wounds, and voices that were never mine. And as these fall away, you will stand lighter, brighter, and more precise. You will know where you are, what you are doing, and where you are going. And this is the place I have been leading you, to the safe territory of truth, where every gust of wind must pass around you, where every arrow is deflected, where your soul rests even in the middle of the battlefield. The spiritual alarms you just walked through were not meant to frighten you. They were meant to bring you into the place you were always meant to dwell, the safe region of my truth. You have grown accustomed to stretching yourself thin just to keep things from falling apart. But I want you to enter a new rhythm, one where you no longer hold everything together alone. Let me say this with the gentleness of a father holding your hand in a dark room. You do not have to protect yourself from the noise of your own mind. For I have built a barrier around your soul, not to imprison you, but to shield you from the invisible arrows that always try to slip through the cracks of emotion. That barrier is not made of stone or metal. It is made of truth, and truth is strong enough to become a refuge for a trembling heart searching for breath again. You have walked too far into days you did not realize were shaped by lies pressing upon you. The careless words of others, the judgments they spoke without remembering, have sometimes cut across your soul like thin blades of wind. But I want you to know those blades are no longer allowed to define you, not even once more. I am pulling them out, one by one. By pouring light into the places you thought were broken, you are not broken. You are simply covered by things that were never yours. And when my light touches every crack, you will see that you are not shattered. You are being knitted back together with a strength you have never known before. Not a strength born of willpower, but of my presence, wrapping around you like warm wind, embracing someone waking from a long, weary night. It is time for you to step out of the zone of turbulence. You have lived too long feeling like you had to manage everything inside you that no one else understood. But the fact that no one understood does not mean no one saw. I saw every night you lay awake. I saw every moment you turned off your phone just to escape the noise. I saw every time you pressed your hand against your forehead as if trying to stop the thoughts from spiraling. I saw every moment you wanted to speak but swallowed your words for fear of being misunderstood. And for this reason, I am bringing you into a place where you no longer need to explain, only breathe. My safe place does not require perfection. It requires permission for me to enter. Imagine this safe place as a wide room filled with gentle light, where there are no hurried footsteps, no whispers that make you doubt your worth. In that room, you can let your shoulders relax, your lungs fill deeply, and your heart beat without scanning for which words might wound you next. I am not placing you in safety to isolate you. I am placing you there to heal you. Like a tender seedling being sheltered in a greenhouse, not because it is weak, but because it needs a protected environment to regain its strength. You are now inside my greenhouse. Here, the light is never too harsh, the wind never too strong, the soil always moist enough for your roots to grow deep so that when I send you back into the world, you will stand strong. From this place, I begin to unlock what you never dared to believe you carried. The old wounds are slowly loosening their grip on your mind, and the space they leave behind becomes room for my light to flow in. You will begin to hear yourself speak words you once thought impossible for your lips. I am enough. I am okay. I am not alone. I am safe. I belong. Not because you are trying to motivate yourself, but because I am recalibrating the sound within your soul like an artisan tuning the strings of an instrument that has drifted off pitch so each note returns to its true tone. Your soul is an instrument, and I am tuning it with the gentleness of a hand that knows exactly which string is tight, which is slack, and which has been broken for far too long. Then you will notice yourself growing strong in a way that is not loud, not the kind of strength that makes others look up, but the kind of strength that makes you smile softly even when facing something difficult. A strength that teaches you to pause when needed, to say no when your heart is tired, to guard the peace I placed inside you without feeling guilty. A strength born from the truth that you are covered not by the armor you once built for yourself, but by the very hand that is holding you in this moment. And when I say unlock, I am not speaking of a sudden push that forces you into something grand immediately. I am speaking of a gentle unfurling, like how dawn never arrives with an explosion, but with light that spreads gradually. I will open your eyes to see what I see in you, the perseverance you never acknowledged, the kindness you mistook for weakness, the resilience you never credited yourself for, and the quiet strength that has carried you through days you thought were mere luck. It was not luck. It was me working behind the scenes of your life. From the safety I've led you into, you will step out as someone who has received new breath. Your mind will feel lighter, your heart brighter, your steps steadier. You will no longer panic at the small noises of life. You will no longer tremble when your emotions rise and fall. You will no longer question your worth each time someone misunderstands you. For in this safe place, I am doing the deepest work of all, restoring your identity according to the word I spoke over you from the very beginning. And now, like a guide placing a hand on the back of someone learning to walk for the first time, I say to you, take a step. You do not need to be strong. You do not need to hurry. Just walk in the rhythm I am placing in your soul. You are entering a season where my truth will not only rescue you, but also build you. It will not only free you from fear, but equip you with a light that darkness cannot extinguish. You are not walking alone, not because I walk with you, but because I walk ahead of you, clearing the path, preparing the space, illuminating every step. Let your soul know this: you are safe in me, and in this safety, no lie can touch you. From here, you step into a new season not with fear, but with knowing you are held, you are covered, you are drawn into truth, and you are led to the place where destiny is waiting. There are moments when you sit alone in that familiar room, the soft yellow light casting shadows on the wall with paint streaks you never noticed before. You look around and feel your heart longing for quiet, longing for someone to place a warm hand on your head and tell you everything will be all right. I was there in those moments, not as something mystical, but as the sudden peace that made your breath exhale a little softer. I did not step out of that room for a single second. I heard every breath, saw every minute you held back tears because you didn't want anyone to worry. You did not know that my silence in those moments was to teach you how to recognize my presence when it comes without noise but with power. I do not arrive through thunder. I arrive through warmth that changes the atmosphere even before anyone enters the room. And from that quiet arrival, I began the deepest healing in your heart. You used to think that if you just tried a little harder, everything would be fine. But you did not realize how long you had already been tired. The wounds you carried inside were like a backpack never opened for years. So heavy you no longer knew how heavy it really was. I saw you pulling it onto your shoulders, walking with it, pretending it was nothing. But the safe place I opened for you began with the gentlest act. I lifted that backpack from your shoulders, not with words, but with a breath touching the place where you were straining the most. I placed my hand on your shoulder the way someone unties the last knot in a cord that has been pulled too tight for too long. When I loosened it, you did not hear a sound, you only felt your heart release. And in that moment, I knew you were ready to step into the deeper part of healing. There are fragments of memory you never wanted to revisit: the old words, the old glances, the moments you were misunderstood, misjudged, or treated unfairly. These things cling to your soul like dried ink on paper, the kind that smears more the harder you try to erase it. You've wondered why you are so easily affected, why one sentence can keep you awake all night, why a single criticism can tighten your spirit like a hand gripping your chest. I do not blame you. I know these wounds were not small. They formed at the moments when you were at your weakest, which is why they rooted themselves the deepest. But know this: I will not let them stay forever. I kneel before these wounded places not as a stranger searching, but as one who knows exactly where they came from. I lay my hand upon each memory the way a potter touches a cracked vessel, not to judge how damaged it is, but to see where the light can pass through. I never touch a wound with haste. I touch with the patience of the one who knows each layer of pain must be loosened slowly. And as I touch, you will notice you no longer shrink back the way you used to. For my touch does not add pain, it soothes. You will feel your heart, once afraid of being seen, open for the first time, even if only a small space, to let light enter. I know the days when you opened your eyes but didn't want to leave the bed, when your heart felt heavier than your body. I saw you pull the blanket higher, wishing the world outside would pause just long enough for you to breathe. I saw you sit before a glass of water without wanting to drink it. Stand before your work with no desire to begin. Face people you wished you didn't have to meet. I saw it all, but I did not come to command you to be strong. I came to make you lighter before asking you to rise. When your heart is weary, I do not demand effort. When you feel you cannot, I do not tell you that you must. I simply place my gentleness there, like someone laying a warm cloth over eyes that have cried all night. I lay my breath upon the places within you that have gone dry. You do not need to add fire, I will rekindle it. You do not need to lift yourself. I will lift you with hands that know exactly how much weight you carry. The truth I give you is not merely words, it is the room you live in. It is the door that lets you distinguish between the real and the false. It is the roof that protects you from harmful thoughts. It is the wall that blocks lies from attacking your mind. And you must understand this truth does not only protect you, it heals you. Once you live in truth, every lie automatically loses power. Lies may reach your ears, but not your heart. They may circle your thoughts, but find no place to rest. They may knock on the door of your mind, but will always be denied, because truth has already taken its place. The issue was never simply that the enemy deceived you. The issue was that you began to see yourself through what others said. You let small voices define your worth. You allowed careless words to become measurements. You permitted society's comparisons to become a tightening rope around your neck. But I am undoing all of that, not by forcing you to repeat affirmations, but by placing truth deep within your spirit. You are not small. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are not lost. You are not weak. You are not worthless. You are not anyone's flawed version. You were not born to remain wounded. You were born to walk in the light I placed before you. You were born to carry spiritual strength. You were born to stand, not bow. You were born to live fully, not exist faintly. You were born to belong to me, not to any lie ever spoken over you. I am not bringing you into a safe place to isolate you from the world. I am bringing you there to remake you. Just as the blacksmith does not put iron in fire to burn it, but to soften it enough to reshape it. The safety I give you is that fire, one that does not destroy, but transforms. Here, you will learn how to breathe again, how to think again, how to love yourself in the way I love you, how to see life not through fear, but through truth, how to stand in peace even while the world trembles around you. When I heal you, I do not heal symptoms, I heal causes. I go to the place where you first believed a lie. I go to the place where fear first rooted itself. I go to the moment you told yourself you were not enough. I go to the day someone hurt you and you believed you deserved it. I go to the moment you shrank back because the world felt too loud. I touch those moments not to make you relive the pain, but to ensure they never wound you again. When I heal the root, the branches soften on their own. When I heal the foundation, the walls no longer crack. When I heal your soul, your entire life transforms. The strength I am building within you is not the kind that shatters when touched, it is rooted strength. The kind that does not need to shout. The kind that is not the absence of fear, but the courage to stand even when fear whispers. The kind born from truth, not pressure. The kind that remains calm when others panic. The kind that faces reality without letting emotion rule. This is the strength I am planting in you. Everything I am doing, from pulling you out of lies to embedding truth in your spirit, has one purpose: to bring you back into the light that has always belonged to you. Not the light you try to create, but the light I placed inside you from the beginning. That light is essence, not personality. It is destiny, not preference. It is what naturally flows when your soul is healed of what once dimmed it. And now, You are stepping into a realm of light no darkness can erase. I see every small detail you never thought I noticed. The mornings you sit by the window, hands around a warm cup while your heart remains cold from a nameless fear. The moments you stand before your closet unable to choose because your soul is more tangled than your clothes. The afternoons you sit silently in your familiar chair, eyes lost in an undefined distance, trying to understand what feels wrong and what is stirring at the deepest place within you. I am present in each of those emotional currents not to find fault, but to find the deepest wound so I can place my hand upon it first. You think I work only through big miracles, but I am healing you through the smallest details because it is those details that exhausted you. I use these ordinary moments to soothe the parts of your soul no one has ever touched properly. I do not overlook anything about you, not even your smallest sigh. You tried to force yourself into silence thinking that silence meant peace, but silence is not always peace. Sometimes silence is just the soul turning off its voice because it is tired. There were nights when you lay still on your bed, unwilling to move, unwilling to speak, unwilling to think. Yet your inner world roared. I want you to know that my peace is not the quieting of your soul. My peace is the stillness of your mind while the world keeps moving. My peace does not come from effort but arrives like a soft breeze, slipping through the window unannounced, yet perfectly timed to calm your breath. This peace does not demand effort, or strain, or more strength. It only asks that you let me do my part. When you stop trying to calm yourself by reason, you will hear my voice as clearly as running water. When you stop running from your own emotions, you will find me standing right there with open arms. My peace is not the absence of battle, it is the battle's inability to reach your soul. Some things within you have remained unchanged for years, simply because you never heard the right truth. You heard others define you. You heard the world label you. You heard fear name you. But you never allowed my truth to become the loudest voice inside. When my truth takes root, you will see yourself differently without trying. For example, once you walked into a room thinking you were small, but truth will make you walk knowing you carry value. Once you heard criticism and thought you were failing, but truth will let you hear criticism without being shaken. Once you looked at the future and saw fog, but truth will make you see a path gradually illuminated. Truth does not instantly change circumstances, but it changes how you experience them. It changes how you stand, how you breathe, how you think, and from that, how you live. And I am sowing that truth daily, hourly, like light soaking into a room long closed. I am teaching you to see yourself through a new lens, not the lens of the wounded, but the lens of the restored. You will begin to notice you no longer tremble when facing others. You will realize you do not need permission to exist. You will no longer shrink so others feel comfortable. You will see that your gentleness is not weakness, but proof of inner strength. You will see that old wounds no longer dictate your reactions. You will see that old voices no longer have a place in your mind. You will see yourself as I see you, precious, strong, valuable, purposeful, and beyond the reach of any lie. May the Word of God remind you daily to live in His faith and His love. Press follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss the divine and meaningful messages He longs to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.